We have another student coming up, Lori Rubin. And again, when you're listening to these students, and I want to sort of build off a concept I was talking about yesterday with Rabbi Wogenlinter, and that is that God is evaluating a Jew off the present value of the trajectory that they're on. Meaning, back when I first started learning with Rabbi Yochal Folby, and he asked if I knew anything about kosher, and I said, yeah, I'm doing kosher. I stopped ordering bacon on my cheeseburger. The reason he was like, that's awesome, that's fantastic, because he knew the trajectory I was on. And so as you hear all these students coming on, I want you to ask yourself and understand that the trajectory that they are on has been greatly changed because of this organization and the rabbis reaching out to everyone. So I'd like to bring on next Lori Rubin, and to tell you her experience about Torch and her learning and what Torch has meant to her. Hello, Lori.
Hey, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad we've spoken on the phone before, but I'm so glad to see your face as well. I know you've been studying with Rabbi Cohen, and I just wanted to, again, the whole idea here was, I thought to myself, who is a better spokesperson for why people should support Torch than us, the students, right? So,
right, exactly.
So share your story from the beginning.
Please don't ignore the fact that I spent many years studying with Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe, prior to Rabbi Cohen. And so I think of both of them as my teachers, although I haven't studied with Rabbi Wolbe in the last couple of years. He's always got a special place in my heart.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's start to the very beginning. I like to know, how did you come into contact with Torch?
So through the, wow, I forgot the name of the program. It starts with an M, but it was the program that Rabbi Wolbe began where he reached out into synagogues and did classes there. And my synagogue, Brit Shalom, I think was the first one. And ours was the first class. And I think I made it to the first or second one. And so that was Musar at Brit Shalom in like 2008, maybe 7.
Wow.
Way back when.
And was that your first introduction to learning Musar?
I had no idea what it was. There are no accidents in this world, and God brings us through so many experiences so that we can learn and refine our souls. And so I know that happened for a very important reason. And I was at the beginning of a very huge transformational journey. And so I had just stopped eating sugar and was starting a diet, which ultimately I succeeded and maintained. I had a child going through a tragic experience that lasted 7 years. I stayed in my classes through all of that. And actually by the time I got to 2010, I became employed with Torch. So that was a phenomenal experience.
I did not know that. So we appreciate not only all your support, but also your contribution to helping out the organization. And so your learning progressed over the years. So you said did your classes participation go outside of the Musar class? Was there any other things that you participate on with Torch?
Well, I don't know what you mean outside the classroom, but
no, I mean, did you participate in other classes besides the Musar? Was there other subjects that you were learning from the rabbis over the years?
Right. So then I went to Kabbalah, and that was with Rabbi Cohen. And I'm still doing Musar, but instead of taking a class, I'm doing it in the more traditional way where we study with a group and with a partner.
Right.
And I've been doing that for the last 5 years. And I'm continuing to take the Kabbalah classes with Rabbi Cohen. And the reason I brought up my employment with Torch was because right at the time when my child was beginning to find help, The help came in a rather alternative way, and I was skeptical and worried that it wasn't kosher. It wasn't okay to do.
Right.
It was a spiritual therapist, and I'm a former psychotherapist, but this was very different. And so I was working with Rabbi Cohen in the office, and I told him what was going on, and he agreed to kind of have a conversation with me after each of the first 3 appointments with this woman and my child, and kind of help me decide whether or not it was okay to continue, because it was definitely not mainstream. And this woman ultimately cured my son after 7 years of hospitals.
Amazing.
And Rabbi Cohen gave me his blessing after those 3 visits. And had he not done that, I don't know where we would be, but I will tell you that it turned the trajectory of my entire life around. So not only did my child get cured and was able to start a new life for themselves, but I then turned to this woman for, some calm and help just to recover from what we had experienced, the trauma of 27 hospitalizations. And now I am doing that kind of therapy as well. And so this is now my livelihood. And, I have Rabbi Cohen to thank as one of those people who set me on that path. And it's fascinating every week to learn with him and to learn alternatively at the same time with these other people on this spiritual path that's not religious in any way, but it's definitely a God path. And to see how they just line up exactly. It's just remarkable. And I feel very connected to the divine every day because I have that alignment in my life.
That's an amazing story. I'm so, thankful that your child is healthy and doing well and sort of worked to where you found another calling in life and being in this. But I think what you mentioned is something that I'm glad you spoke about, because, we are sort of talking about how Torch is global, not everything's through the media and podcasts, but it's not just that, is it? It's not just some impersonal passive listening. It's the connection with the rabbis. A lot of students from other parts of the country say we sent an email, we got an email right back and a phone call. There's a connection with the rabbis that they can be there for us to answer all types of questions and look into the wisdom of Torah to provide us that guidance. And that's something else I'm glad you brought up, because we need to convey that to the world. That's really what Torch is about.
Well, Rabbi Cohen's in Israel, and so when he was telling us a year in advance that he was going, we were all panicking. Oh my God, what are we going to do without Rabbi Cohen? And, there's the group of us that have been together for quite a long time. And still, the same group gathers at the same time on Zoom, and we chat, and Rabbi Cohen puts it on Facebook so other people join. But, he sends us the teachings, and we have a, 1 or 2 minute chit chat before he goes live. And it's just great to still have that connection across the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he was in town. Thank God he just got back in Israel today.
Oh, fantastic. So he made it out yesterday.
He made it, and he got through the airport, and he made it home. I've been trading texts with him. I actually have the Rebbetzin Devorah Cohen on next.
Oh, yay.
To talk with her. But, I think I'm glad you brought that up, all this, because, I have had so many experiences where I've had questions, and I've even had questions with rabbis like, I don't know the answer to that one. And then they elevate this one above them. I had a question that ended up going all the way up to the top halakhic authority in Israel and all the way back down to little old me, because of these rabbis that if they don't know the answer, if it's something where they're not sure, they have the humility now to say, let me ask someone else. So thank you for showcasing that real aspect of Torah. That it's just not passive recordings of their teachings. It's interactive, and they're here for us at all times. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners on, why they should be going to, givetorch.com and supporting this organization? We're now just crossed the $427,000 mark, and we're trying to get to this $500,000 mark to fully fund the budget for the next year. I'd love if you could share anything that would get people to realize that what a merit it would be to go to that website, givetorch.com, and make a donation.
Okay, so yes, I want to share, and it's making me a little tearful because I have so much love in my heart for this organization. I think when you asked that question, the thing that popped up for me was integrity. Rabbi Wolbe pulled me in at a time when I didn't know where I was. And I saw so many others come along with me. We didn't know what we were looking for. We just knew we were searching. And we were vulnerable. And he could have taken advantage of that. And he didn't. And he taught us. And he met us where we were. And he didn't influence us in a specific direction. He didn't insist on anything. And more importantly than everything, he listened. He listened to everything we had to say. He was thoughtful and he was careful, and with integrity, he gave us his responses. And sometimes he took a little chance here and there, but that's what you have to do when you're a teacher. And he pushed us gently forward into helping us find ourselves. And I have the utmost respect in my heart, in my mind, for Torch, for all the rabbis of the organization, and especially the two that I've connected with the most. But they're all amazing, and I am inspired every time I pop into a class. So, if I had more money, I would be giving so much more, and I'm always giving to the point that I can't, because I want Torch to keep going, and I want everybody to keep giving. The work I did for the 2 years I was there was fundraising. And I did a couple of galas and a number of special events. I was an event planner. And so pulling the community together to do these kinds of things just gave me so much joy and brought this organization to, I think, a level of respect that has persisted and grown over the years, and Torch has become the magnificent edifice that I think Rabbi Wolbe had always envisioned it to be back when we talked about it 14 years ago.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lori. I really appreciate you sharing all that. It's an amazing story. I think you are totally a reflection of what Torch brings to the world. So I appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day to share that with us.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you for all the work you're doing to keep the organization afloat, and for hosting Rabbi Cohen when he was stuck here.
That was a total joy. And just to have him living in my home